Let's see what Soup has to say. Watching your own videos again. Nice.
I found Frame's webcam. Welcome to the video where I talk about the future of the Gielinor games. A very serious video where I have a lot of things to tell you guys, but I'm excited to tell you because it's mostly good news. I was just going to use footage of my in-game character. I mean, we do look so much alike, obviously, as you can see right here, but I figured I just bought this camera and it looks really cool quality-wise, and I figured I might as well just use it for this video. That way we can have a true heart-to-heart, a face-to-face talking about GG. This video will talk about kind of the future of the show, where I see it going. It's also going to talk about season 5, my thoughts on it, since you guys are always asking me what I think about previous seasons, and just some other things that I feel like I need to tell you guys. First off, I want to say thank you all so much for watching and supporting GG just in general, but thank you all for enjoying and watching season 5. It was such a fun season to come out with, so many amazing moments, which is always my goal with the GG season, is to come out with a season that has a lot of iconic moments, and I feel like that really happened this season with so many amazing moments, which we'll talk about later on in the video. But if you guys would like to leave your feedback and like to leave your thoughts on the season in general, I do have a form down below, a survey talking about this past season where you guys can vote on your favorite players, your favorite challenges and banning, so that way I can kind of figure out when we do GG in the future, these are the challenges I should maybe bring back and put twists on, and then these are the challenges and bannings that I should maybe leave in the past or maybe change up quite a lot in case we bring them back. That survey can be found in the description.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea, that survey. He'll be able to like compile all that info. That's kind of cool to know like which one of your ideas were good. Okay, he'll be able to have like the direct access to that info. If I were to have a survey about all the good ideas that I had, it would just be every box would be checked. So it probably wouldn't help me to have one of those surveys. Just because it'd be like, oh, which one of Sard's ideas were good? It's just like, oh, all of them, all the above. And so I don't think that would be good for me, but for Soup, I think, yeah, this is like a good thing for him.
My other links to other things down in the description below, which you guys already know at this point. Let me just start off by saying thank you. Thank you for watching GG in general and being here just watching this video. I remember in 2019, in the summer of 2019, I came up with the idea for Gielinor Games and thought to myself, could there be a reality show on RuneScape? So I went to RuneFest that year, 2019. I asked creators at RuneFest if they'd be interested in being a part of it, and that's how season 1 came to be. And my dog is drinking water. I wonder if you guys can hear that. This is what was interrupting the video. What do you have to say to yourself?
Oh my God, bro.
To be here 6 years later, 5 seasons deep, having worked with over 60 creators who are part of the cast, and the 120 plus like bannings and challenges that we've done is just mind-blowing to me. I would be nothing without the creators who are on, and of course nothing without you guys, the viewers who are watching every single year. So thank you guys. GG has been and probably always will be my most proud passion project and just baby of just my content creation journey, and I don't really ever see it stopping, but I do see it changing a little bit, at least for the short-term future. Season 5 of Gielinor Games started being planned all the way back in December of 2024, and we finished February 21st, 2026. So 14 months it took to kind of produce and come out with an entire season. And let me tell you, every single day since December of 2024, I was worried and thinking about GG season 5. Not always worried, of course. I was always excited as well for the episodes to come out and to film and to see what happened, but worried more in the sense that as the show has grown in terms of the audience and the viewership and the production, the worry part is more like I need to kind of live up to these expectations of each season needs to somehow top the previous one to keep people happy. I've kind of felt that way, honestly, ever since season 2, when kind of the production really started ramping up. So for about 4.5 years now, I've kind of been in this constant state of how can I make this past season better? How can I make this past season better? And in terms of content creation, that's amazing. That's great, because when it comes to your main project being your passion project, and that's exactly what people want to see, it's like the best of both worlds. So having this constant passion to work and your job being to come out with a RuneScape reality show, it's the best thing in the world. But to be honest with you,
bro, this is such a cool, like it's a double-edged sword when you're always trying to one-up yourself. That is how you get better. But in the content creation space, I almost feel like, so first off, when I came to RuneScape, all the other RuneScape content creators, they made me a better content creator, because I was like, oh shoot, this is like what I'm competing against. I've got to like really bring it with the videos and stuff like that. Otherwise, you know, it's just going to go to the bottom. Like no one's going to watch the videos. So having that natural competition inspires like innovation in other content creators. But what Nick said on an interview with Soda Poppin' one time was that He's like, all these content creators, all these IRL creators have been trying to one up each other, and now it's like, unless you're renting out some private island and doing some crazy content with the other top 10 just chatting streamers like you're and like Kai Cenat and Speed and these guys, they raise the bar so high that now no one can come close to that anymore. So it's like at some point, if the bar gets raised too high, then you hit a plateau, and it's just like you can't really push it much higher than that. Or pushing it that high all the time becomes exhausting. And Nick was like, dude, I used to get 20,000 viewers streaming in my kitchen, just me and Milena. Now for these guys to hit 20K viewers, they gotta rent out the baseball field or something. You know what I mean? So it's crazy.
With you, it's also led me to ignore a lot of IRL things, a lot of real life stuff. And that's something that I'm a little bit worried about. I've noticed that I've put off a lot of things in real life when it comes to trips with family, with friends, because I just tell them I'm working all the time. I'm working. And as I am in my 30s now, which is really weird to say because I don't feel like I'm in my 30s, I feel like I'm kind of losing out on a lot of time that I wish I had back. Every season of GG becomes more difficult to film and schedule because, honestly, simply put, the creators are getting older and have a lot of real life things going on. Back in 2019, when we first started filming, a lot of the creators were in their early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, and a lot of them had a lot of free time to be online, to play RuneScape, to film content. Yeah. 6 years later, many people are now in their 30s. A lot of people have families, a lot of real life responsibilities, and it becomes harder and harder to get these filming sessions in, especially when everybody is all over the world in different time zones, on their different schedules with different priorities, whether it be streaming or making their own videos. And trying to get 20 people online for that first session might be the hardest part of the entire show. Ali, my co-producer, was in charge of the scheduling this past year, and I think of all the editing we did, which was extremely difficult, she would still say that scheduling 20 creators to be online at the same time to film for 3 hours was the hardest part of the whole show. It took us 7 months to film 12 episodes. So even though the season came out in 3 months because we had one episode every single week, the season itself took, twice as long to film because that's how hard it is to schedule everyone to be on. And honestly, it's not going to get any easier as everyone gets older. Again, more real life responsibilities, probably more kids coming for people, more busy time, less free time, and just a harder time to schedule these things in general, especially when it comes to a really long production like Gielinor Games. And to be totally open and honest with you guys, I'm kind of just really tired of the entire production process. I think GG is something I always want to do, but those 7 to 8 months of filming and planning, and then the 3.5 months of the editing and the producing and the releasing of the show has really kind of taken a toll on me. I'm just exhausted. Honestly, to put it simply. I've put a lot of things in life on hold because of Gielinor Games, the main thing being in a relationship, honestly, because I always thought to myself, the amount of time I spend on the computer thinking about editing, planning, talking, DMing, producing GG would just be like an ick for anybody who is in a relationship with me because they're like always on the computer again talking about GG. So I've just honestly ignored it. But like I said, I'm in my 30s now, and it's something I kind of feel like I should do at some point. As I mentioned earlier, I've said no to family trips. I've said no to trips with friends. I've ignored going out just in general because I do spend just so much time in front of the computer editing the show. And again, while on one hand, it's the best thing ever,
yeah, bro, this is tough when you start editing your own stuff. You can almost never be finished too because there's always some way to make it better. And the only way you ever actually pump out content is like you give yourself a deadline. You're like, okay, I have to just post it at this day, at this time. Otherwise, like you didn't, and then you're just up all night the night before trying to get it done. And so that's why, like, I know that my videos could have better production quality too. But at a certain point, it's just like, it's not sustainable. And so he's hitting that wall that I've hit several times in content creation and stuff like that, where the rate and the way the quality and the rate that he's producing stuff at is just not sustainable. And maybe it's not profitable enough to outsource the work to other people or for him to hire more editors. And maybe it's not profitable enough for him to do that, or he maybe just wouldn't want to do that. So maybe that's what he's thinking about right now. But I've been there. I definitely feel this.
On the other hand, I know it's really tough to balance the two, and I feel like it's something that I'm balancing very poorly at the moment, and it's something, well, I want to balance better. So what does this actually mean for Gielinor Games? If all the other creators who are part of the cast are getting busier and it's harder to schedule with them, if I myself want to be busier IRL doing real life stuff again, what is
Soup wants to be pumping and not pumping out. Huh?
does this mean for the show? Well, to me, it just means one of two things. Spin-offs, or we scale it down a little bit. While I do want there to be a full-scale season again in the future with a big cast and 12 episodes, I feel like for the meantime, if I do want to focus more on real-life stuff, as well as come out with other videos that aren't Gielinor games, as well as balance, the challenge of having to film a ton of creators being online at the same time, I think we do a couple different things. The first is just a scaled down version of the show. So instead of having 20 people on, maybe we have something like 8 to 10 people, and it's a 4 to 6 episode special. An idea right off the bat that I've always thought of is maybe something like a Gielinor Games Legend season where only 8 to 10 people are on, and it can be only people who've made it to Gielinor Games finals and maybe 2 wild cards. The point of that season would be to kind of have the legends of the show, the guys who have made it deep into the finals in multiple seasons, to kind of face off versus one another and see who's the best of the best. I've had talks with Jagex and talks with other creators about potentially filming something in real life where we do a version of Gielinor Games where maybe 10 to 12 people are in a house and we film challenges on the computer as usual, but then there's maybe an IRL section in there as well. That way everybody is together and we can film for 10 days straight, and we don't have to worry about scheduling and time zones. It all just happens kind of in 10 days, which scheduling wise would be the best thing ever. And on that end, we can just expand Gielinor Games to be other things. Like, why not have GG? I don't know if I would call it Gielinor Games, but why not just have other kinds of reality shows? And we take inspiration from them and try to create a RuneScape version of it. I've always thought it could be fun to have maybe a purely social game version of the show where there's no challenges and it's just talking and manipulation and all that. There could then also be a version of the show where it's just purely performance, competitive based, where there's no voting, there's no alliances. It's purely just you perform and you get points for doing well. And if you don't, you just get out. That's what excites me so much about the thought of just the Gielinor Games universe, if I want to use that word, is it just doesn't have to be the standard static format of 12 weeks.
One thing that Soup didn't mention yet, guys, is like the skill he's developed on getting people together, producing a show. He could take that same skill set and apply it to something with a bigger audience and make way more money. Like the producing a show. He's producing a show. He knows RuneScape. That's what he knows. But if you took out RuneScape and replaced it with a bigger audience, the framework is all there for producing a show. And it's like, I wonder if he ever thinks about that.
Weeks. People get out every single week and there's one champion. I really want to expand and just test the waters of other kinds of shows. And that's especially where you guys are going to come in, because you are all the best at leaving amazing suggestions and feedback. I just hit my mic, sorry. On how we can make Gielinor Games and just RuneScape reality TV. It's always crazy to say those string of words together, but how that could actually transform and work in the YouTube space. If there's one thing I never lack confidence in, it's the creators that we have on the show, because the RuneScape creators are the best in the world. They always produce the best content. They always understand the assignment when it comes to being on GG, because they just come up with the best performances, and they completely understand that it's a show and it's drama, it's performance, it's just really being into it and coming out with the best entertainment possible. And that's why I feel like if we expand GG to be other things, it's going to turn out great. That's really how I feel like I see the current short-term and maybe longer-ish term future of Gielinor Games. I don't think I ever want to give up on the possibility of there being another 20-person big 12-episode season in the future. I just think with, like I said, all the reasons I said earlier, I'm in my 30s now. It's just getting harder and harder to film the season in general. There's a lot of stuff that I've put off in my own real life that I really would like to start doing. I feel like now is the right time to kind of focus on that. But I still want there to be something yearly that comes out in the Gielinor Games universe, like I said earlier. So I really feel like this next year or two, we're going to see some kind of mini series come out, a spin-off of the show. And I really kind of feel like that 4 to 6, 7 episode territory is very doable because that's less filming time, less editing, but still
Don't
I feel
even
like
say
is
it,
enough
guys.
to really draw somebody in and be really into the show. I've been told by multiple creators that if I just have a month dedicated to filming something Gielinor games related, they'd be very willing to open up their schedule for that month and we can get everything done in a month. So if I can get all the filming done in 4 weeks and then we have, 8 months to produce and edit the show as opposed to the 3 to 4 we have, and instead of the 7 months of set filming and scheduling that it takes that we usually do, that it just opens up the possibilities to there being honestly maybe even more Gielinor games related content coming out because we can film and edit a lot.
If you plan far enough out to where nobody has anything planned, this is how we do it for films. Like when we filmed the movie Swipe Club that I have on Amazon, we shot 14 days, but we planned for 3 months. So we plan 3 months nonstop for 14 days of shooting, and we had 2 days of reshoots that happened 2 weeks after the 14 days of shooting, and then we had 2 months of editing. So you just have to have really good pre-production. You have to make sure that anyone who commits, if you already know the days and times you're filming, you recruit people. So you say, hey, Jimmy, can you be on Gielinor Games Season 6? Here's the days we're filming and the times. Can you make every time? You need to be available for these days. These are the days we're shooting. Before you even bring anyone on the show, you tell them what days you're shooting. And so they either commit or they don't right there. And then you could even like sign something with them. But that's just how it works. I mean, that's how it works in the film industry. So it seems like his stress could be easily solved with just slightly better pre-production in general.
Lot quicker than we usually could. So if you guys have any thoughts or any ideas for some type of Gielinor Games miniseries or spin-off, it doesn't even have to be like in the format of Gielinor Games. It can be something just as simple as like 12 creators have a button in front of them and every minute they have to vote somebody with that button and whoever has the most votes gets voted off. Like even social games like that, very simple, something we could film in an afternoon. That excites me so much because I feel like that is content a lot of people want to see and is a lot easier to film. And that's the stuff I just really want to come out with. As usual, the YouTube comments are probably the best way to leave a suggestion, but if you guys would like to talk to me and maybe get my feedback a little bit quicker, my Discord has a Gielinor Games suggestions channel where you guys can leave your suggestions for challenges, bannings, formats, just thoughts on Gielinor Games in general. That will be in the description as well. If you somehow skipped to this point in the video, the TLDR of everything that I just said was essentially it's getting harder and harder to schedule and film the episodes. Again, it's gone from maybe being able to film and edit a season in under 7 to 8 months to now potentially taking upwards of a year and a half to film, schedule, and edit based on everybody's schedules. And for me, that's just too long of a time, and I'm not willing to dedicate that much into it when, again, I'm at the point in my life where there's a lot of things I need to kind of catch up on and a lot of things I'd like to do, and I feel like now is the right time to do it. That does not mean Gielinor Games is ending, though. Instead, we're going to be focusing on miniseries and smaller versions and spin-offs of the Gielinor Games version of the show that you guys all know and love to hopefully have it still be as impactful and powerful as the actual season is. I know a lot of you probably are sad and maybe even disappointed to hear that the longer version of the show, the 12 episode, 20 creator form.
He's not saying he's retiring. He's just saying that Gielinor Games might not be as many episodes as it has been in the past. That's basically it. He's just saying it might be smaller, but and quicker episodes. He wants to have a wife and a family. Definitely feel that. Sue probably has way less control because I don't think he pays the creators. That is one thing. I did pay everybody when we were making the movie. So they all were obligated to be there because they were independent contracted out, I guess, for the pay. I'm not sure how he does that with GG. I think maybe they're getting, I don't know if everyone might be just getting paid in exposure. I don't know if they get paid for the 3 hours that they're there. I did it when I was on the pop-up episode.
Format will be on a hold for now, but I hope you guys can appreciate the reason why. Again, it truly is just really difficult to schedule and film with 20 creators all in different time zones who can only be on at certain times of the day on certain days.
I got paid for winning. I got 20 bonds, which is a year of RuneScape membership. Yeah. Chai Kid, thank you for the 2-monther.
Pressure during the 7-8 months of filming
He pays in
sessions
gold
was
if you
constantly
win.
up and down, because I would get a message one day that we actually have to cancel filming for the day because somebody can't make it, and I'm just sad for 3 days straight because I really wanted to film. And again, I've just noticed over the past 5.5 years that it's just kind of gotten worse, and not worse and worse, but more like it's happened more and more. And for me, it's just a lot of time I feel like that I've wasted. The other thing is that my dad constantly asks me when I'm getting a girlfriend, and I just need that to end. Like, I need that to end very soon. This video is not sponsored, shocker. However, if you guys would like to support me and the Gielinor games and this channel in general, make sure to please check out the Gielinor games wall art, which you guys can see sitting there on my couch back there. I have the Lightbox version, which looks absolutely amazing. It lights up and looks really cool. There's also just a standard wall art version. Make sure to grab it.
That does look
limited,
sick.
Potentially stock while we have it in stock, and make sure you grab it while we can. Of course, we have some Gielinor Games merch as well if that interests you more. And one other thing, if you guys are supporters of the osrs Patreon, you get some behind the scenes content, and from now on your name will be on every single video of mine at the very end of it. So thank you all to my lovely supporters on Patreon. You will see your name at the end of this video. Thank you all very much. Okay, so there you have my thoughts on the future of the Gielinor games. Let's just quickly talk about this past season, season 5. As you guys all know, my goal with every season is to have it be unique compared to previous seasons. Seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all have had unique formats, challenges, bannings, a cast, because I'm trying to make each season a unique viewing experience. Season 5 brought in so many unique things. The biggest thing, of course, was the Hopper, as Mr. Oda Block would say. The Hopper, I think, was one of my favorite additions ever. The Hopper was something that I knew I wanted to have in the season very early on in the brainstorming phase. I just knew that the names spinning on the screen and having somebody randomly chosen based on how many votes they have, it'd be controversial, but in a good way, because I feel like every single spin, people would just be on the edge of their seat being like, oh my God, who's going to be, who's going to be? Knowing that there's a small chance, even though somebody only has 1 or 2 votes, they could still go in. And that did end up happening this season a couple times, which I just thought meant it was a really exciting
great idea.
experience. I really loved
RNG
the team
is part of the
format.
game.
So going from big teams to duos to solos, I really like how that actually worked out. I think it worked out perfectly with a 12 episode format. I always do a survey at the end of every single season, and I ask people, what's your favorite kind of format? A big team, duo, solo? And solos are usually what people prefer to see the most, but I always thought to myself, I feel bad if I just completely leave out duos or big teams again. So I think having it kind of be like best of all 3 worlds, where if you're a fan of big teams, it happens at the start. If you're a fan of duos, it happens in the middle. If you love solos, it happens at the end. And the most important part, I think that actually worked out really well. The Tribunal was really popular from season 4, so that was brought back for season 5, but this time there were some more people in the Tribunal. So at the team section, there could be up to 5. In the duo section, there was 4 for 4 straight weeks. And then in the solo section, it was a bit of a dynamic tribunal where we went from 3 to 2 to 1 based on who won the challenge. And I think that also worked out pretty well as well. So I would say maybe when it comes to the most controversial change, it would probably be the attack and the defend votes. Because attack and defend votes, public voting, leads to everybody's favorite thing about a reality show, alliances. Alliances have always been in Gielinor games, and alliances always will be. They sometimes just take the forefront more compared to other seasons based on who's in the alliance, how dominant the alliance is, and how far the people in the alliance get into the show. Whenever there's voting in a reality show, there will be alliances formed because people don't want to get eliminated, so they'll ask somebody if they can be on a team together so they don't, vote each other in, and they'll be safe longer. Whenever there's a prize, whenever there's money to be made for making it deeper into the season, Discord DMs, RuneScape DMs will be sent out because, well, people want to be safe. Alliances work really well in a show like Gielinor Games because they create storylines, which is the most important part of the show. If there's no storylines, if there's no drama for people to follow episode to episode, well, then
you need the drama. Could be like when you have alliances, people can backstab each other. And it creates that drama.
it would just be boring. But every single week, if you can tune in knowing you're rooting for somebody or you're rooting against somebody, that's exactly what the show thrives on. One thing that the majority of the viewers understand about the show is that it is a reality show at the end of the day, okay? It's not meant to be a show that's dramaless and everybody loves each other and it's perfect, right? It's meant to create tense moments. It's meant to create drama. It's meant to have hero.
Prison Throw understood the assignment.
heroes and villains. Having polarizing characters and storylines means that people come back every week knowing that they're rooting for somebody, rooting against somebody, hoping they get eliminated, hoping that they stay in. And that's just what makes the show, I feel like, great. And the creators are so real about, you know, being on the show and portraying a character for the most part and being so into it that it leads to a lot of passionate comments, we'll put it that way. Some of the most passionate comments about the season started happening towards the solo section of the season. So past episode 9, where the Meal Alliance, which was the dominant alliance from this past season, which had Bodhi, Torvesta, Skillspecs, and Solo Mission, had Virtuoso as well back in episode 4, but we lost him a bit earlier. But they started dominating and protecting each other and all tried to make it to the end with one another. I saw a lot of comments, especially on Reddit, being like, oh, the Meal Alliance ruined the season. The Meal Alliance, that was so, why are they defending each other? Why are they still together? Why are they not backstabbing each other? It's a solo game. It's really funny where in season 3, when Solo Mission was kind of playing this snakery behind the scenes game, and there were people being like, how dare somebody snake people? Like, how, I'm okay with the alliances, but don't snake your alliance, right? Don't do that. To now in season 5, when Bodhi and Solo Mission were protecting one another, saying, you know, we're going to try to get each other to a final. And then I saw comments being like, why don't they backstab one another? Like, surely they try to backstab one another. It's so funny seeing the difference in how the viewers reacted to that over the course of 2-3 years. And I think it kind of shows that people are just out for blood these days, man, especially in a solo season, which I can't understand. But seeing a lot of comments being like, I hate the snaking too, I want the snaking, I think shows how into it and how passionate a lot of people became. I'll just say,
The problem was the Alliance. It was the Alliance contained some of the best people in OSRS. If you were trying, I mean, the whole goal is to win. So if the way you win is creating an alliance with the best players, then why wouldn't you do that? Makes sense, right?
that I feel like the reason the Meal Alliance felt so dominant is, one, because Bodhi and Solo Mission had an incredibly dominant season when it comes to performance, right? They won the majority of the tribunals, which meant that if you're in the tribunals, you kind of should have a say in how the season goes. There was actually a lot of alliances this season. We had the PvP Alliance, we had the Rookie Alliance, we had the Meal Alliance, we had smaller alliances between a couple people. You know, those alliances just ended up, you know, breaking or disbanding towards the middle or towards like the beginning of the end of the show because all the members got eliminated. And the one alliance that stood strong through it all was the Meal Alliance because mainly the players were just dominant. As I said, Bodhi and Solo Mission.
David, thank you very much. There's my prime. Yo, legend. Hashtag one prime at a time. Thank you, sir.
Won the majority of challenges this season. They were almost always in the tribunal. So if you're in the tribunal and you're always safe and you can't get eliminated, you then have a big say in who does get eliminated. No Monkey and Mr. Mammal were the banning kings this season. I think they won 4 bannings apiece, which is absolutely amazing. It's incredible. But the reason they were constantly in the bannings is because they just didn't win as many challenges. So this is always said on the seasons, if you don't win challenges, then you have a chance to be up for elimination. And those guys would constantly win a banning. They would come back, but because they didn't win challenges, they'd be sent in again. Why were they constantly being sent in? Because they are really good, strong players. I don't know about you guys, but if I was on the show and I was constantly winning, I would constantly keep trying to send in the best players to get them out because I'm scared of them. I also saw a lot of comments.
Anytime you could send someone in the banning, especially if you could put 2 really good players in the banning together, that's what you would want. But the problem with it is the really good players there's rarely a chance to vote the 2 best players in against each other in a knockout round because they're always winning. So you have to devise some kind of challenge where anyone can get thrown in, even the best players. Like having challenges where the best players have a chance of going in to the hopper would be the best solution.
So people are shocked that Bodhi didn't try to backstab Solo or send home Solo or vice versa, or Torvesta with skill specs, or that entire group not trying to send one another home. And on one hand, I understand those guys are all strong players. You want to try to get the strongest players out. But on the other hand, I'm thinking, If you guys had really good friends in an alliance on the show and you wanted to make it to a final with one another, and that was your goal for the whole season, and you're at the point in the show where that's possible, wouldn't you want to kind of stick with that? This isn't the first time we've had people in the GG season trying to make it to a final with some of their friends, right? Settled and Framed always try to make it to a final together because it's Settled and Framed. They're always friends. They're never going to backstab one another. So they're always going to try to make it to a final. They've done it multiple times, and people love that. When there's a lot of money on the line, you try to align yourself with people who can help you get to the end, and being in an alliance like that that's really strong, I totally get it. I definitely understand not being a fan of alliances, but I really want to reiterate that when it comes to voting, if there's a show with voting, there will be alliances. It is not possible to ban alliances. Every time I see a comment being like, Soup needs to ban alliances, I'm like, that's just not possible. If there's any kind of voting, whether it be public voting or tribunal voting, there will be people forming bonds, forming alliances. It's happened on every single season, and it always will. That being said, things like alliances can be minimized when it comes to the format itself. So last season wasn't as alliance heavy because you got to choose who you wanted to go against in the banning, and the tribunal was 3 people mostly for the whole season. So that, in a sense, kind of minimized alliances. Alliances were...
I'm excited to see where Soup ends up with all this early stage of creative breakthrough. Yeah, I think so too. I think he's going through it right now, and he's his mind is running. So we'll probably get something awesome out of this. Jim Dinty, 1 prime at a time. Thank you for the 2-monther, my friend.
Still a thing last season. It just wasn't as much in the forefront as this past season because the voting made a much bigger difference this time around. The attack votes and the defend votes were a really cool twist on the season, but I can definitely see how they amplified the alliance game way more, which I know a lot of people are fans of. The amount of people who's DM me and leave a comment being like they love the drama behind the alliances and the snaking and the behind the scenes. But I know there's a lot of people who aren't a big fan of that as well. So if there's one way we can maximize the alliance game or minimize the alliance game, that's in the format. And to be honest with you, that is maybe why I feel like a spin-off version or multiple spin-off versions of the show in the future can kind of satisfy multiple people's cravings for what they want to see in a GG season. If we have purely a performance-based season where there's no voting and it's just purely based on rankings and performance, then the people who are fans of that can get their version of the show that they want. But I will say, when it comes to a version of the show where there's no voting and there's no alliances, there's not going to be as much drama, and it may not be as exciting as you think. I truly believe that the creators on the show will always create amazing content no matter what, but we got to remember, it is a reality show. We are always trying to maximize the entertainment value, and I think having a really good balance between competitive challenges, really cutthroat bannings, and a great mixture of drama behind the scenes is the best formula for a good GG season. If there's one thing that I realized maybe a bit too late when coming out with Gielinor games is that you just can't make everyone happy. At the end of the day, somebody's going to be mad at something about the show, about the episode, about a specific moment that happens in the episode, about a twist, about the alliances, about the performances. There will always be a comment saying, I hated this. This sucks.
So true.
And that sucks, honestly. I wish I could make everybody happy, but at the end of the day, my goal and my hope is that people can just appreciate the amount of effort and the amount of production that goes into the show to come out with it for free on YouTube for everybody to watch. My hope is that people can understand and appreciate that. If somebody says, I hate this, I hated this season, this sucked, but they watched every single episode, I'm still like, okay, I feel like that was job done then still. I know there's people who've watched every single season who still tell me that their favorite season is season 2, but the fact that they've still watched season 3, 4, and 5, even though their favorite season was season 2, is amazing to me, right?
Bro, people be in my stream like, man, this stream ain't no good. And they're like a 7-month sub with 10,000 messages in the chat. And I'm like, what are you still doing here?
Right? But I feel like that's kind of the thing with when it comes to a reality show, you have your favorite season because of the people, the format, the twists, the challenges, the bannings. I'm sure for you guys who watch different types of reality shows like Big Brother, like Survivor, like The Challenge, you have seasons that are your favorite that happened 10 years ago, right? Maybe Survivor, one of your favorite seasons is like season 21. For me, the season 33 of The Challenge on MTV, which happened 7 years ago, was my favorite season by far, but I'll still watch the show because I just love the show so much. So that's always my hope with Gielinor games, that you guys watch it, and while an episode might not be your favorite or a season might not be your favorite, you can still appreciate and watch the show because, well, you just like the show in general. I definitely will be going more in depth into this past season of GG on my second channel where I will be posting a ton of behind the scenes content. I'll also be kind of doing a Q&A over there as well, and a special video that's coming out. I don't know when, but I'm going to be posting a YouTube community post over there asking you guys for your specific questions, and I'll kind of just answer the most upvoted questions. I'll also be doing uploads of the weekly Gielinor Games podcast that we filmed for my Patreon for this past season. As you guys might not know or know, this past season we filmed a weekly podcast going over every single episode. I'm going to start releasing those weekly on my second channel. Super is what it's called because it's a super channel, SOUPER, that of course will be linked down below as well. So nice. I'll be leaving a YouTube community post on there asking you for your questions, and you can expect a ton of videos on there. So make sure you subscribe to that channel as well as this one. I'll also be posting more fun behind the scenes GG stats and content on my socials, which I'll do. How does this work? Like right here, if you guys want to follow those accounts, check those out, shoot me messages, like the posts if you guys enjoy the stuff. If you guys would like to hear more about Gielinor Games and just the SOUPRS project in general, I did the official Old School RuneScape podcast on the Old School channel, which you guys can find right here. I'm trying to be all cool and pointing to show off the video there. And I also did the Theory-Wise podcast recently right here, which you guys can see as well. Both of those links are in the description, as are all the other links. Make sure to check those out and leave a comment and just say that you love GG because I don't know, it makes me feel good. Once again, a giant thank you for all of you who've made it this far into the video. It shows that you're a true fan of Gielinor Games. Hopefully my face didn't annoy you too much in this fun video, but shout out to my new camera for featuring. I feel like the quality just looks really, I'm not used to having a camera have this good a quality, but I feel like it looks really good. But thank you all again for being fans of the show, being so into the show, and of course, watching and supporting. A big thank you to the cast of Gielinor Games, and a big thank you to Hootie 8sat for working on the graphics every season. And of course, the biggest thank you to my co-producer, Allie, whose channel will be linked down below as well, who without her, this season would not have come out because she was such a massive part of everything. So go shoot her love on her socials and her YouTube videos for helping me out so much this past season. That's all I got for now. Thank you all again.
Awesome, man. Good to hear from Soup and catch up on where his mind's been at with Gielinor Games. Sounds like we have some different content planned. I hope he would consider me maybe for that IRL one. I wouldn't mind flying out, spending a few days in a house with some guys and just, you know, just banging out some content. So if he's down, man, absolutely, like, let me know.